Bertrand Picard, hello. Good to see you. How is life in Geneva?
Well, now I'm in Brussels, ready to speak at the European Parliament about energy efficiency.
So, your favorite topic?
My favorite topic now is how you can reconcile ecology and economy to protect the environment in a way that is acceptable for politics, for industry, for finance. So really reconcile ecology and economy with solutions. And this is what I do with the Solar Impulse Foundation. We have identified 1,780 solutions to date that are economically profitable to protect the environment.
Okay, so the line is a little bit bad, but we continue. But right now, we don't talk about your big project. I mean, you're very famous. You did more than almost every human being on that planet. You went around the world. Now you're with Solar Impulse, still an entrepreneur and a pioneer. But now you have problem, deep trouble because of a company that also said, we are green, we are fine, we are the good ones, we are solar energy. It's called the Prime Energy. And this Prime Energy went bankrupt and you are in the middle of a storm. How comes?
And I find it profoundly unfair if you put me on the side of the people who are responsible of this bankruptcy. Because the Prime Energy model is profitable. It means that people from the public were allowed to invest into this company. They were receiving for years between 2.5% and 4.5% on their investment. And this allowed to install solar panels in Switzerland, in Morocco, in other countries. And this model is profitable, and Prime Energy is not the only one who is doing that. There are a lot of companies in the world who are investing money to install solar panels, sell the electricity, and make a profit. The problem in this case is that there was, I would say, between mismanagement and clear dishonesty, some people seem to have behaved as crooks, taking money from the company for their personal investments, making a personal use of the amount of money that belonged to the investors. And now the company goes bankrupt. And you have people in the public who say it's the fault of Bertrand Picard because he was sponsored by that company. Some people say it's the fault of solar energy because it's not profitable, which is wrong. Everything is wrong. We just have mismanagement, we have dishonesty, we have things that don't belong to solar energy, don't belong to my foundation, don't belong to me. And
so you see yourself as a victim. You're not part of the problem. You're part of the solution, or you're even more. You're a victim.
I am victim on two levels. One is for my reputation, because I was sponsored by that company. And now people believe that I was linked to the management, linked to the ownership of the company. That is completely wrong. It's exactly like Federer. Roger Federer was sponsored by Credit Suisse, and he's not responsible of what happened with the Credit Suisse last year when it went almost bankrupt and was bought by UBS. So that's one thing. On the other level, I'm a victim because I believed in that system and I invested money. I invested personal money in bonds and shares. So I'm losing a lot of money in that thing. And I'm really frustrated because I believed in it completely. And now it's a bad publicity for me. It's a bad publicity for my foundation. It's a bad publicity for solar energy. Well, it's unfair. Now the only thing to do is to go to the people who are responsible of this fraud, of this bankruptcy, and oblige them to give back the money to the investors and to be punished for having abused so many people who are victims of this fraud.
How much have you invested? personal money. How much was your investment into that company, into that Prime Energy?
I have nothing to say about that. I'm not in a court case. I'm in an interview. And this is my private business. But I received some bonds and some shares from the company in my sponsorship agreement. And I also put the same amount in terms of shares, in terms of bonds, with my personal money. I even, reinvested some tranche of bonds. I had one that came, that was ending in 2022, and instead of taking the money, I reinvested it in the company.
But how much money
so I really believed in it.
Okay, how much money did you get from the company for your for your company, for your solar impulse, for being Mr. Picard? How much sponsor money did the company give to you?
Well, I had a sponsorship agreement for this. Like every sportsman, every actor, every explorer, I live from sponsoring. I live from speeches that I'm giving, events in which I participate. And this allows me to give 75% of my time for free for my non-for-profit foundation to speak about solutions, to protect the environment, to go and speak to politicians, to try to make the industry cleaner. So that's really my devotion to the environment. And I can fund this, doing it for free, only if I can earn my life in another field. And I earn my life with sponsoring and speeches. Now, the amount of the contract, that's not your business, that's mine. And I have done nothing wrong, so I don't need to justify myself. Of course, if I had done something wrong, if I had done something wrong, then I would need to justify and give numbers and so on. But it's not the case. It's completely honest. And I can tell you, it's a pity I'm not a tennisman or a football player, because I would have earned 10 times more, 20 times more, 100 times more.
But maybe you were like a little bit blinded by that money in the way that you should have seen things that are somehow strange by the company, by this Mr. Lorin Fair. He's the big man, the founder, he's the responsible, that maybe because of the sponsorship, you did not react quickly enough to ring the bell.
How would you like me to react early enough when the audit company, PricewaterhouseCoopers, does not ring the bell? I'm not in auditing, I'm not in financial controlling. There is an audit company for that, and I rely on it.
You're angry because of all these allegations against you, no? I can feel it. You really think the press is unfair with you.
I'm not saying the press is unfair with me, because a lot of people understand completely what is a sponsoring agreement, what was the role of my foundation, what was my role. I'm angry about some people who write completely nasty things and unfair things just because I'm famous and it helps them to sell their article better. This is the unfair thing. And the op-ed that was in Inside Paradeplatz is completely wrong and completely unfair. I did not chase old people to get their money for the Prime Energy. There was an organization in Prime Energy that was dealing with the customers. I was not dealing with the customers. I was sponsored to say that this model that has been labeled by the foundation is profitable and works to protect the environment. Now, I cannot know if there are crooks inside the company who suddenly start to do dishonest things. There's an audit company for this, and it's their job to do it. And if they don't identify it, how do you believe that I can identify anything if the professionals don't do it?
But if I understand you right, what you have said, what you have written to the investors, no? You have written 3 pages for the investors, no? Now, what you have just said in this interview, you said basically, Bertrand Piccard, must assume that this is a fraud. And you said you will go after them. You will send in a lawsuit. You will go to the prosecutor in Geneva and say, even that there could be money laundering. I mean, this is a lot, money laundering. Imagine, no? So why are you convinced that Mr. Lorin Fair, the founder of Prime Energy, is a fraudster?
Well, there will be a lawsuit, and they will give the conclusion. So I don't want to tell things that have no proof. So I have to be careful also when I say this. But when I learn that Lorin Fay has borrowed 45 million from Prime Energy that are invested privately by him, and he said that himself. He said, I borrow money officially to make private life give back the money as soon as possible. But the investment is for him. It's not an investment that is done in the name of Prime Energy to bring profit to Prime Energy. If I borrow money from you and I make a profit and then I give you back the money and I keep the profit, it's not honest. So now I am filing now a criminal complaint, not against him himself, but against the main shareholder, against the management, the ownership of the company, and then it's the court who will see how guilty he is.
Okay, that's the way how it works.
I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a judge. I just see that this company made enough cash, so it was profitable enough to allow the main shareholder to borrow 45 million. That's the amount I heard from people inside the company. So it's absolutely unbelievable. And now there is not enough money to pay back to the investors, to the shareholders, to people who put their savings in this. Can you imagine? There are old people who put their pension, who put their savings, and for them, 20,000 francs or 50,000 francs is a lot of money.
And of course they did that also because of you. Not that you are responsible, but of course of your name. I mean, people believe in you, believe in your expertise. That's the way how life works.
Everybody believed in it. They believed in it. I believed in it. I put my own money. You know, if I was sponsored by them and I would have invested no money, then you could say, wow, maybe Picard is dishonest. Maybe he just got paid to make publicity for something that was dishonest. But it's not the case. I put my own money inside, you know, and I was ready to put even more if there had not been this announcement of bankruptcy, because the system is perfect.
It is not a fake company. You're repeating this. It is not a fake company. The company did real stuff. They produced things. They had these solar panels. These solar panels were on the roof of this famous football stadium in Geneva. So you were like, you had good reasons, and the other investors too, to believe in the company. That's what you say.
Completely. And the people who believed in the company were right. Now the people were abused by somebody in this company who borrowed the money, who used the money for his personal use, and he is not giving the money back at the moment that it should be used by the company itself. So what the lawyers are saying is that somebody who behaves like that in America would go in jails for many, many years. Now we have to prove that it's exactly what happened, and I hope that Switzerland will make it clear what happened, and that this money can be given back to all the people who have lost it. I'm careful about the words I use, because I don't want them to be accused of saying bad things against people, but from everything I heard, I think it's really needed to make a criminal complaint, and I will do it together with all the investors who want to join me, and I'm joining the one who have already started to do it, because we have to be all together and show that we all have been abused.
For Swiss ears, you are clear enough in the words you use, so that's fine. You are saying what you think is the correct thing. When do you think did all start to go wrong? What was on the timeline? Until when was the company proper, fit and proper, and when did that thing go apart?
I don't know when the problem started, because I'm not in the audit business. What I can tell you is that the first time I heard something was in March this year, when I was talking to the CEO about renewing my sponsorship contract. And he told me, I'm in a difficult moment in the company because 45 million have been borrowed by the main shareholder. So it's not the good time to make a new partnership. And I said, yes, and not only about not renewing, but you also have to get my image out of it immediately. I confirmed in writing, and he did it immediately, because if there was a suspicious of fraud, I, of course, did not want to remain sponsored by the company. So I was out of it completely in March. But in March, there was no idea that it can go into bankruptcy. And I had nobody to announce it to, because they had stopped to share the bonds because of the FINMA. So it was only shareholders and not bonds anymore. And then in October, it was the really bad surprise that the company was going in bankruptcy. And this I learned at the same moment that then all the other investors and shareholders.
With the benefit of hindsight, shouldn't you have said anything in public back then in March?
No, because it was not a problem that was going into bankruptcy. You know, it was, in French you say crise de liquidité. They just had not enough cash flow just to do this. And the brother of Laurine Fay had made a commitment to reimburse 20 million very fast. And then suddenly he refused to reimburse them. He stopped unilaterally. He got out of the contract of reimbursing. So no, there was.
Yeah, but you yourself, you took you out immediately because you said 45 million for this Laurine Fair. What is this? No, so you were suspicious. You were suspicious at that moment of time.
No, what we had concluded with the CEO is that as soon as he would get the money back, the money reimbursed, then we would go into the renewal of my sponsorship agreement. So it was not a clash where we fell apart. It was just a suspension. We said, okay, now we don't do anything. And as soon as the money comes back, we continue our business as we did before.
Okay, now we are talking about almost 200 million. Maybe 170, 180, up to 200 million. How much of this money do you think will come back, if any?
When you hear how much assets Prime Energy has in real estate, I personally hope, even for the Madoff fraud from 2008, 92% was reimbursed to the victims. 92% was reimbursed to the victims. So I deeply hope that in this case, it will be something at least similar, if not more. But I hope, I'm not the judge, and I just think that we have to go fast before this money disappears through other companies and other frauds.
You, as Bertrand Piccard, a famous person, pioneer, entrepreneur, have you taken out the lesson from all of this? I mean, somehow that maybe your trust into people has suffered?
Afterward, we're always more clever than beforehand. What to do when you have frauds, where you have crooks, where you have dishonest people? How can you see it in advance? You have audit companies who exist to detect this. I cannot detect it myself. Now you have problems like this of corruption in political parties, in governments. That's inherent to human beings. You have these problems. Now, either you do nothing or you do what you believe is right. I did what I believed was right, and I only do what I believed right. If I have a sponsor, it's because the sponsor corresponds, fits, matches with my convictions. And what better than solar company to have the sponsorship agreements, to develop solar panels, installation. And in the op-ed of Inside the Paradeplatz, there was also a lot of things that were completely wrong about solar panels. Not just me. I don't know who wrote that article. It's completely wrong. Solar panels are profitable. When you buy a thing that has some gray energy, it needed energy to make the panel. In Switzerland, in less than 1 year, you have reimbursed completely the energy and the pollution that was created to make the panel. And then for 30 years, not 29 years, you have a source of energy that is unlimited, that is cheap, that is clean, and the entire world knows that we need solar panels.
And still, the companies go bankrupt. Not only this Prime Energy, but also Meyer Burger. This big company. No, they are at the brink of insolvency. So I don't know whether your analysis is adequate, because obviously Switzerland is too expensive for this kind of technology.
You take just a segment of the world. 99% of panels, they are made at such a cheap price that it is the cheapest energy in the world. Today, with solar panels in Portugal, which is not so far from Switzerland, the cost of a kilowatt hour is 1.5 cents. 1.5 cents. Compare it to the energy bill we have in Switzerland with gas or nuclear power. It's so much less. So, of course, you have some companies in Europe who have been destroyed by the power of China. I always say that China has destroyed the solar industry in Europe, but they have saved the world. Because thanks to China, we have cheap solar panels. And when people are writing that it is polluting, that there are toxic waste, that nobody knows what to do with the solar panels, it's completely wrong. Solar panels have created an industry for recycling. It's mandatory to recycle solar panels. And solar panels, they last for 30 years. It's not like oil. Oil and gas, you burn it after paying a fortune for it, and at the end you have nothing left. When you invest in solar panels, you have at the end of the year solar panels that are producing for 30 years. So of course it's profitable. I go every year to the climate conference, the COPs in different countries, and everybody is speaking about tripling up the quantity of renewable energies. And for the people who don't like the wind turbines, well, what is left? You have hydroelectricity, but then you have complaints that say, oh, we shouldn't hire the dams. It's bad for the for visual or whatever. So what's left? Solar panels. It's a source of unlimited energy that we have to develop. And I don't understand why, at the occasion of the bankruptcy of Prime Energy, it becomes a topic about attacking solar panels and solar power, which is the future of mankind.
So now we got the big picture of the power of the sun and the solar power, and from one of the most important visionaries and ambassadors of this technology. I really thank you for this opportunity, and that you fight for your reputation and for your money. with esprit, no, en français, esprit, with a lot of spirit. As first time that I can speak to you, was very nice, and all the best.
And I thank you for giving me the opportunity to answer all these questions. It's important for me to be honest, to be transparent, to be clear, and you gave me this opportunity, and I thank you.
Thank you. All the best.
Bye-bye.